Early rising is a popular strategy among the world's most successful people. A 2016 report published in the Wall Street Journal claims that the hours around 4 a.m. may be the most productive time of the day. There are no distractions, no one texting you or bothering you, and you can work at your own pace. For Bezos, it's not just about getting up to be more productive, but to have some time to himself and get his brain ready for the busy day ahead. After waking up, the Amazon founder doesn't rush his mornings. He takes time to do things you might not think of as traditionally productive for a big-time CEO. "I like to putter in the mornings," is how Bezos puts it. His early morning activities include reading the newspaper, having a coffee, and making a big breakfast to enjoy with his kids. The morning routine also includes chores. Bezos is usually in charge of doing the dishes. Doing things with his family that don't relate to work are a big part of how Bezos makes it through his day. Instead of work-life balance, he likes to refer to his strategy as work-life harmony. He told Thrive Global that he prefers this term because balance tends to imply a strict trade-off. He went on to say that, "If I am happy at work, I am better at home. And if I'm happy at home, I come into work more energized, a better employee, and a better colleague." Bezos' strategy of taking time for menial tasks and to basically do nothing associated with work is backed up by science. According to a study by the University of California, Santa Barbara, taking time to putter allows the mind to wander and be more creative. An article by Forbes highlights that there isn't necessarily a relationship between working hard and working smart. Instead, the most effective executives are those who can both act and reflect. Bezos isn't the only CEO who sometimes gets his best ideas while completely away from work. Elon Musk, who's worth about $186 billion at the time of this video, claims that some of his best ideas come to him in the shower. Once Bezos is out the door, it's time to head straight to Amazon HQ. The first meetings of the day are those that require the most brain power, so he sets them up for his peak performance time around 10 a.m. He says, "I like to do my high IQ meetings before lunch, like anything that's going to be really mentally challenging." His most productive time is between 10 a.m. and midday, so he uses those hours to make a few high-quality decisions instead of frequent small ones. Performance peaking early in the day isn't uncommon. Author Daniel Pink revealed in his New York Times bestseller, When: The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing, that sharp-minded analytic capabilities peak in the late morning or around noon. Scientists who have studied this have agreed that speed and accuracy are better in the late morning, and that it has to do with our natural wake cycles. After getting the most challenging tasks done early, Jeff Bezos uses his late afternoon to schedule smaller meetings. He likes to take impromptu meetings on warehouse floors at least once a week. Bezos' days won't exactly get less busy now that he's stepping away as Amazon CEO. He'll be taking on a new role as executive chairman that will involve weighing in on big-picture decisions. When announcing his transition to his employees, Bezos demonstrated just how aware he is of his own capabilities and how he can't do everything all at once. He wrote, "When you have a responsibility like Amazon, it's hard to put attention on anything else." Jeff Bezos doesn't function as the CEO of his space company Blue Origin either. But as the company's founder, he's involved in big decisions and is often consumed with the idea of where the company will go next. He already completed a quick trip to the edge of space where he experienced weightlessness, making him only the second billionaire ever to go to space aboard his own vehicle. The first was Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Group. After a hard day's work, Bezos enjoys business dinners, especially if they're exotic. He once ate an iguana. These evening dinners take advantage of his second peak time. Scientists say our brain power peaks once in the late morning and again in the early evening. He wraps up his day with something a little productive, and then it's off to bed to prepare himself for the new day ahead. During his conference at the
Thank you very much. So this gentleman certainly needs no introduction. My name is Mark Bezos, and you're all welcome to call me what my friends do. They usually just refer to me as Jeff's brother.
By the way, just so you know, it actually does go both ways. My brother has a TED Talk about small acts of kindness, being a volunteer firefighter, and it has millions of views. And every once in a while, somebody will stop me and say, "I love your TED Talk about being a firefighter and small acts of kindness." And I usually, say, "Well, thank you, but that's really my brother." his TED Talk, but if I'm in a hurry, I just say thank you. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. But if any of you do get confused, I'm the one with the smaller bank account to your left.
He's the big brother.
So, Jeff, before we get started, I think this is obviously a crowd of influential people who are starting out. I think we might as well just make the most of their time. I'm just going to dive right into this, if you don't mind.
Let's go.
So, you are captain of industry, Amazon.com, private spaceflight with Blue Origin, the Washington Post, levels of fame and wealth that are hard to comprehend. I guess one question that probably is at the top of everyone's mind is, if you had to choose one thing, what would you say is your favorite part of having me as a little brother?
Because
I've taken the liberty of writing down some thoughts.
I know the answer to this. And there are many things I love about having Mark as a brother, but what he just did is number one at the top of the list. When I am with my brother, I just laugh continuously because he is the funniest guy in my life.
Well, thank you. You're an easy audience, and I appreciate it.
I am actually an easy audience. That is true.
He is.
I am.
All right. So here's what we're going to do, if all of you don't mind. So. Yeah. The fact that, a fireside chat among brothers, this is not unique for us. This is something that we do quite often. It's rare that we have, a couple thousand of our closest friends with us. Yeah. And it's also rare that we don't
do it in front of an audience, and we usually actually have a fire.
Yes, and bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we don't have now. But
no.
So. What we're going to talk about, the things that I'm going to chat with Jeff about, are not the sorts of things perhaps that you would hear in most interviews, because I don't, two pizza rules is not really my jam, so we're not going to talk about those things. But we do have a shared history. So what I really want to focus on is the influences and the inspirations that have led to some of the things, the foundation of what.
This is a little intimidating. He knows way too much. It's.
So, and what I'd like to do is invite all of you to join in on what is some of our greatest hits, I guess, from my point of view. And because we have such a shared history, what I've done, much to Jeff's chagrin, is I've gone through and taken the liberty of pulling together a bunch of family photos. So I'm going to be throwing some of those up behind us, and just so that you guys can, sort of understand. So if we start talking shorthand, you'll understand what it is that we're referring to. So, all sound good? All right. So I am going to, and I appreciate your patience. This is not the sort of thing that I usually do, so I appreciate your patience. So we're just going to dive right into it. So when we were kids, we would spend every summer on our grandfather's ranch in South Texas. We called our grandfather Pop.
That's Pop.
There's Pop right there.
We were probably just fixing that windmill.
Yes, always fixing windmills.
Yeah.
Before you were climbing them and smashing bottles upon them, which you did recently in an Instagram video. So, one of the things that we would do, every summer, it was really a magical experience. There's little Jeff.
Yeah. That was my maximum cuteness right there. So, by the way, all downhill from there. That's a 1962 International Harvester Scout. We all learned to drive in that car.
That car.
Once you can drive that car, you can drive anything.
And then this is, so there's the two of us. That is Jeff teaching me how to open or close a gate, which doesn't seem like it would be that complicated, but I was having trouble with it.
Wire gap gates are tough.
And then this is
that's Red. Well, that's Christina, our sister.
That's our sister Christina.
But the horse is
red.
That's Red. Yeah.
So I guess one of the things that we learned
There's
every
Pop.
summer.
Yeah,
this is Pop again. So there was, as we alluded to with the windmills, there was always work to be done on the ranch. And one of the things that I think we learned to value, and you've spoken about this in the past, is the role that resourcefulness, self-reliance plays.
Sure.
It's certainly in a place like the ranch, but Can you talk a little bit about?
Well, so one of the great things that you learn, and first of all, we had a very fortunate, lucky childhood. We got to spend a lot of time with Pop and our grandparents, and you learn different things from grandparents than you learn from parents. It's just a very different relationship. I spent all my summers on his ranch from age 4 to 16, and he was incredibly self-reliant. You know, if you're in the middle of nowhere, in a rural area, you don't pick up the phone and call somebody when something breaks. You figure out how to fix it yourself. And so as a kid, I got to see him solve all these problems and be a real problem solver. He even did his own veterinary work. He would make his own needles to suture up the cattle with. He would like take a piece of wire, use a blowtorch to heat it up, pound it flat, sharpen it, drill a hole through it, make a needle. And some of the cattle even survived. And so, you know, we learned a lot of things from watching him because he would take on major projects that he didn't really know how to do, and then figure out how to do them.
You know, a good example of that is, you know, you guys built a house.
Yeah.
I think he bought this out of a Sears catalog.
It was a kit house, and we built that thing. Somebody came out. It all showed up in big boxes, and a professional came out and poured the foundation, and then we did the rest of it. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure
that was quite a project.
In going
there's
through
you can see some of the cows there that didn't survive the procedure.
So, you know, when I was going through these, it certainly I came across this photo, which
oh God, yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what it was you were doing here, but I'm almost positive you're doing it wrong.
Maybe that vent really pissed me off. I don't know. That's certainly.
Well, I think there's a couple of things here.